Take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests. With your host, Kenan Wesley Mason.
And we are back now with a Fox News alert. Areas of Los Angeles are now under a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. as protesters have been clashing with police for days. House Republicans have already launched an investigation into Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass for failing to contain the chaos, while the far-left media is now running cover for the protesters. Watch.
I want to reiterate, this looks very intimidating. This has remained 100% peaceful as far as I have seen. They're messing with the horses. Guys, let's go. Let's back up here. Whoa. Let's go.
And while LA burns, the media is insisting that everything is peaceful.
As you can see here, this is a peaceful protest. We the people serve no king. How you guys feeling?
Horrible.
What was it like to hear those flashbangs just now?
Unnecessary. It was peaceful. We were in front of the federal building. We were peaceful.
Throughout the entire time we've been out here, people chanting, singing, dancing, remaining peaceful as they make their thoughts known, their voices heard on the Trump administration.
And it's not just LA. Anti-ICE riots continue to rage across the country. Last night, police in Seattle were forced to use tear gas to protect themselves, while rioters in Portland broke into an ICE facility. Multiple police officers were reportedly injured there. Now we're starting to learn more about the people involved in these riots, like this gentleman, illegal alien Emiliano Garduna Garcia. He was arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail at an ICE officer in LA. These riots are all in support of the illegal migrants nabbed by ICE, whose crimes span from human smuggling to lewd acts with a child. And the left still insists that these protests are peaceful.
Protests have been largely peaceful, and much of the violence that does exist has been provoked by the presence of officers on the streets that was completely unnecessary.
To say the city is burning is an insult. It's all a farce.
I flew over each one of them, and they were overwhelmingly peaceful.
And the media is pushing the same false narrative. A study from the Media Research Center shows that from June 11th to the 12th, CNN and MSNBC personalities insisted the anti-ICE demonstrations were peaceful 211 times.
Say it one more time.
211 times they were peaceful.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you all for tuning in to another edition as we are streaming live, simulcasting on Facebook, simulcasting live on Instagram, and simulcasting live on LinkedIn. So welcome to all three platforms. As always, go to my YouTube channel right here. It's the Kinetic Hour, and that's Kinetic, Kennetic, the Kinetic Hour. Subscribe. Tell everyone you know to subscribe. Click the notifications so you'll know that I'm here and present and ready to give more information, ready to give some great questions to all of my guests. Click the thumbs up, click notifications, tell everyone that you know to tune in to the Kinetic Hour. Leave your comments. As always, leave your comments. Tell us what your opinions are about whatever topic that I may talk about on any of these shows. Leave comments regarding the comments, and that way we stay in the YouTube algorithms. So welcome. I'm always appreciative for those that tune in. Welcome to all the new subscribers and new viewers. It's always great to have new people come in to just to kind of get a glimpse of myself giving my opinions about global matters and domestic matters as well. So thank you all for tuning in. As I always say, whether there's one person or 1,000 people tuning in, my voice will continue to permeate. And there's thousands of podcasts that you can be listening to. So thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. Again, it's greatly appreciated, and I'm grateful that that I have the audience and that it is growing. It's growing. So thank you. The clip. And before I get to the clip, first, I want to say congratulations to my daughter. I just want to say congratulations to my daughter because she just had her last day in elementary school, which was yesterday. Yesterday was her last day in elementary school. And she had a really nice graduation. And there we are right there. Myself and my daughter, the one and only Miss Nija Ejul Mason. So I say congratulations to her, and I love you very much. And to all the graduates of California Online Public Schools. Her best friend is also a part of the school as well. She graduated the day before. And so again, congratulations to all of you graduates from California Online Public Schools, and to all graduates all over the nation, whether it's public school, private school, and public school, private school, or online for those of you that homeschool. Congratulations to all of you, as my daughter just graduated and now she's transitioning into junior high school, or what is now called middle school. So congratulations to her. And next, I want to say happy, I know it just passed a couple of days ago, but to all the fathers, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Father's Day is a daily event. So kudos to all the fathers out there, all the fathers that are supporting or present in their children's lives. So salute to all of you, all the fathers. And and lastly, I'm just going to put this up. Lastly, oh, here we go. So I'm going to put these up here. So lastly, I want to thank my sister because my birthday just passed a little over a week ago. And my sister, which was a surprise and a shocker to me, she took me to this event right here because she knows that I've been pretty much a lifelong WWF, now WWE fan. I don't watch it as much these days, but growing up, I was a huge fan. And she took me to this event, well, which was really, really cool. It was at the Intuit Dome, which is in Inglewood, California. It's right up the street from SoFi Stadium, which is also in Inglewood. This was the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in Los Angeles. And so it was really fun. And there's myself and my sister, the one and only Miss Crystal Louise Flowers. And so thank you to my sister, because it was fun. I enjoyed myself quite a bit, and it was fun. It was a surprise. She had me blindfolded because we got a lift over there, and it was fun. It was fun. I've been a fan. I have other clips, but I'm going to save all that for another show because it was fun. It was my second WWE event. The first one I went to was, oh gosh, it was a while back ago, a few years ago. My old roommate took me to a SmackDown event. I think it was back in maybe 2015, 2016. So once again, to my sister, Crystal, thank you so much. It was appreciated, and we'll definitely do it again because it was fun. And also, lastly, and I should have had a picture ready. I'll put one up. I'll put one up in post-production. A few days ago, we celebrated, or just 2 days ago, actually, we celebrated the birth date of the late, great Tupac Shakur. And I can only imagine what he would be saying about all the happenings that have been going on, specifically here in Los Angeles, which has kind of cascaded across the continental United States and across the globe, including our two states that are not so continental, Alaska and Hawaii, along with other connected American territories, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Samoa, all countries, states that have to do with the United States are being affected in some way, shape, form, or fashion with all the happenings. And I can just imagine what the late Tupac Shakur would be saying about what has been happening, specifically here in Los Angeles, because the clip that I just showed at the top of the show, and I showed that clip on purpose because there's been a notion, and a few days have passed now, but there's been a huge narrative that's been going on about Los Angeles. And the narrative is that Los Angeles is the war zone. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of notes right here. 5 pages of notes. And I know I won't get to all of it. I'll have to make a part 2 of this because there's so many things happening all over the country, but there's so many things happening within our government. And when I talk about government, I always have to bring up this character right here, because the happenings that we see stem from the root cause. And the root cause is this gentleman right here that we see, Mr. Boss Baby himself, Mr. Baby Huey, our president, our current president, the Donald. And for this episode, I won't be talking so much about him, but more so about his cast of co-stars, his cast of co-stars of his administration that, kind of do his bidding on television and across the nation, giving certain narratives. So the show, it'll be about him, but in an indirect way, because I want to talk more about his administration, and how pendulums are starting to sway and swing in a very different direction, especially when it comes to his MAGA supporters, his core base. So I'm going to just play clips. I'm just going to play clips and just make some commentary regarding a bunch of clips. I have so many of them, because again, there's a narrative. There's been a narrative. And when you see people, and I'm going to show clips from different networks, again, on purpose, because again, propaganda is real, especially when it comes to government matters or political figures and the policies that they create, or the policies that they tell us that they're going to implement. Because all this chaos that we've seen over the last week, I mean, all of this is stuff that former Vice President Kamala Harris told us that was going to happen. Whether you like her or not, this is what it is. She told Donald during their one and only debate that this was going to happen. Everything that's been transpiring, she told him and the whole world that this was going to happen. All of it. So when there's a narrative, and when you see certain clips, and I'm just going to put some things up on the screen. When you see clips like this, when we see clips like this over and over and over and over and over again, we see these clips day after day on conservative news networks, so they can make the claim that all of Los Angeles is burning to a crisp. And as you can see, these cars right here, these aren't civilian cars. These are driverless cars that the city has been having problems with. And for those that live in Los Angeles, as I come out of there, but these are the narratives that they've been showing on conservative networks over and over and over and over and over again. And when you share narratives, when you share clips and show these clips to your audience over and over and over again, it starts to become implanted or imprinted or tattooed, if you will, on the brain, tattooed. And this is what people across the United States start to believe. They believe that Los Angeles is all about that clip, what we just showed. And then we hear other comments or commentary about people possibly being paid to go out there and create chaos, which does happen. And the people that you see, many of the people that you have seen creating chaos, yeah, those more than likely were not protesters. True protesters that have authentic gripes with government, they're not going to have time to, light stuff on fire and protest and stand on top of cars, and pose for pictures. True protesters, they don't have time for that because they have a specific agenda to share their grievances, their First Amendment rights with government or government policies or government officials. But we do have certain clips that do surface. And I'm going to show this, and it's going to go pretty quickly. But you do have clips like this, and I'll play it twice just so everyone can know what's going on. All right. So, as you just saw there, a reporter, a reporter asking a civilian to stand on top of the car to take a photo so they can present it to their respective news network. Oh, gosh. And this is what happens, and this is what reporters and photographers do to create a narrative. I mean, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, when you show pictures and video like what we just witnessed, what I just put up on the screen, again, it's going to create a certain thinking pattern with a specific audience. And so, again, the narrative is that LA is burning, all of Los Angeles. But again, for those that live in LA or anywhere near the vicinity, or even those that live in downtown LA or in and around the vicinity of Los Angeles, we all know that a very small section of Los Angeles was burning. And most of it was what you just saw with those cars, because those are the clips that keep running over and over again, day after day after day, to create a certain feeling or emotion for the viewer. And before all that was happening, you had these ICE raids, because again, I just mentioned my daughter's graduation, and ICE agents, or people that we've been told are ICE agents, these agents never identify themselves when they go to these places of employment. We've seen all the clips and of ICE agents that don't identify themselves. They keep their faces covered. And these are supposed to be federal officials going to catch violent criminals, the worst of the worst, at elementary schools. So when we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder for children, this is how you create it. This is how you create it. This is how you create your emotionally damaged children, by creating episodes such as what we've seen, not only in Los Angeles, but all across the country in major cities, whether it's here in Los Angeles, Chicago, parts of Texas, on the East Coast, New York, Miami. You know, they're happening all over the country, parts of the Midwest. ICE raids. And when children are wanting to have or attempting to have a joyous and memorable moment with their parents, here come immigration and customs enforcement, right? To look for the worst of the worst, right? These dangerous criminals at the elementary school. I mean, they've gone to churches. In Downey. You see right here, ICE raids. This is from the Downey Patriot. And they're showing right here. ICE raids, right? ICE raids. While they're raiding one of the Christian churches in Downey. Looking for the dangerous of the dangerous, right? Hardcore criminals at the church. And so I'm going to go back to the screen and see what we have next. Oh yeah, we and a lot of you may have seen this one here. A lot of you may have seen this clip here.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
You just shut the fuck up. You okay?
Okay, as you see that clip, protesters, you know, protesting, doing what they do. But yeah, as you saw, a reporter from Australia, was shot by one of the police officers, or one of the law enforcement, because you know the Donald sent out not only the National Guard, but he also sent the United States Marine Corps. The United States Marine Corps. Because all of Los Angeles is in chaos, according to him, and according to conservative networks. Now, were there a few knuckleheads out there in Los Angeles creating chaos? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. But when you talk about the exception doesn't negate the rule, and the rule is that the majority of people went out there to protest ICE raids, and then a few days later, protesting what was called No King's Day, which was just this past weekend. No King's Day. And again, because of all the chaos that's been unfolding in front of us for well over a week now. So as I go into this next clip here, I'm going to go here and then I'll respond to it.
From Atlanta to Arlington to Albuquerque to Anaheim, 2,000 separate demonstrations this weekend in all 50 states. So-called No King's Day protest voicing opposition to President Trump's agenda and a joint birthday celebration he threw for the U.S. Army and himself. Many protests peaceful, but some erupting into chaos. Gunfire breaking out during a demonstration in Salt Lake City, Utah. police rushing to help one victim in critical condition, authorities taking one man into custody and saying there are no other known threats to the community, a motive under investigation. In Los Angeles, police used flashbangs to break up crowds outside federal buildings downtown. Protesters seen running to safety. Demonstrations in Minnesota canceled after that deadly targeted shooting of Democratic lawmakers, authorities finding flyers for the protests in the suspect's vehicle. And in Charlotte, 2 protesters arrested for assaulting officers. Meanwhile, a stark contrast for President Trump's night, filled with pomp and circumstance in Washington. Commemorating the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army and his 79th birthday, culminating in a military parade along the National Mall, the first of its kind since 1991. The military estimates Saturday's parade cost as much as $45 million in taxpayer money.
Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too. That's what we're doing tonight.
But just outside the perimeter, thousands gathered to protest.
More than 1,000 people gathered at Logan Circle, now marching down towards the White House. But they feel passionate about being specifically here in D.C. peacefully to make sure that the White House hears their opposition.
President Trump told reporters last week that protesters would be met with heavy force.
I am here today, here in D.C., is because he threatened us. Like, how crazy.
Roseanne Rodriguez is a veteran who served with the 82nd Airborne.
I have a right protected by the Constitution that says I can be out here.
So as you saw, and as many people got to see, as I gear up for this next clip here. Okay, so $45 million for his parade. And many people all over the world saw the clips of, because we know that the Donald has, he has an enthusiasm when it comes to how big crowd sizes are. And the crowd size for this event that took place, this military event / birthday event, the crowd size was very minimal at best. I know those clips there, you wouldn't be able to tell because of the clips that they showed. But for those of you that watch more independent content creators that do political and government podcasting, you'll know that they've shown multiple clips of the patronage of that event. And again, it was minimal at best, minimal. And you've heard many people talk about the coordination of the soldiers, contrasting with the soldiers of North Korea or Russia, right? I mean, they showed the women of North Korea and how in synchronicity they are. I mean, in sync. And they're serious about it too. But when you see the American soldiers at this event, lackluster is probably an understatement. I mean, we saw the clips of Donald sitting next to Melania. We saw the Secretary of Defense, Peter Hexagon. We saw all these people. What's his name? Marco Rubio. All these people look bored to high heaven at this event. It's just what it is, right? And massive protests all over the country in all 50 states on the same day. All 50 states. Protesting what they call No King's Day. No King's Day, meaning that a president is supposed to, quote, lead the country versus be domineering towards the country, right? You can dominate, but you never domineer. And this is what the Donald is doing. With all of his cast of characters at his behest, right? His cast of characters, which I'm going to get to as we move along. But yeah, massive protests all over the country. ICE raids in major cities, right here in Los Angeles, right here in Downey. Protests, ICE raids at elementary schools, separating parents from children. They're rounding up American citizens because the majority of the people that they're rounding up and pulling from their workplace, their places of work and employment, these are American citizens. But because their skin is brown and they're targeting very specific places where they know Latin people saturate and interact amongst themselves, where they live. They know this. These are very specific targeted places where they know, because they want to get those numbers up. I told you months and months ago that the prison stocks went up. About the prison stocks. They want to fill these prisons and detention centers, right? So ICE raids at places of business, ICE raids at elementary schools, where children are going to be traumatized for years to come because of these ICE raids. And then you want to talk about mental health matters and why children are being prescribed Ritalin and other psych meds because of what you're creating right here in elementary schools, because the most dangerous of the dangerous are hiding out at the elementary schools and at the Home Depots, right? So, ICE raids. ICE raids, having the military come to California. I mean, this is costing California a tremendous amount of money. I mean, we're talking what the estimate was, like $145 million to have the military here, $45 million for this event that took place for the Donald's 79th birthday, and happy birthday. He's a fellow Gemini like myself. But a striking contrast in personality, and in demeanor, and leadership, efficiency, and efficacy. Leadership. I mean, I've interviewed scholars about leadership, right? Servant leadership. And it appears that the Donald is lacking just that. In his mind, he's a leader, but he's more of a domineering figure. That's what he's been or becoming, a domineering figure. So the next thing I'm going to put up, let's see, because I got all these notes right here. ICE raids. There's so many things happening. Red states are getting crushed by all the storms that have occurred over the winter and spring. And Donald's giving little to no help even to red states. So, and I'll get back to that one in a little bit. I'm going to go here. Let's see. I'm going to go here. Again, back to the let's see, because I have clips here. I would show that, but I already showed the military. It's just amazing how the military is being used. And I know so many people that have either been in the military or military veterans or current personnel in the military. Matter of fact, I'll show this real quick. My daughter filmed this on Father's Day on the way to our dinner event. I'll just show this one. Because we saw military trucks on the freeway on the way, and there I am with my cell phone because I was trying to film it. Actually, I did. I got 2 of the 3 trucks. My daughter got 3 of 6 trucks. It was 6 trucks altogether. I got 2 of them, and my daughter was able to capture 3 of them, as you're about to see. There's one right there. Let's see. There I am holding there's number 2. And then there's a 3rd one right there. And you'll see there's my sister right there. But then as we look to the back, you'll see right there 1, 2, 3, and there's 3 more in the back. There was 6 military vehicles on the freeway in Los Angeles. The 105 freeway, interstate. Oh. And it's costing Californians $145 million. And that includes the MAGA supporters that pay their taxes as well. It's costing you as well $145 million for a city that's not even burning, right? You had a few cars burning, a few driverless cars that were burning near the Twin Towers, where most of the activity was taking place, where many of the people that were rounded up were taken to be detained at this federal building, jailhouse called the Twin Towers in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. That's where you saw most of the protests when all this stuff started to pop off. That's when all this started to happen. So when the military came in, when the National Guard came in, that's when chaos started. Otherwise, all this was about was protesting the ICE raids and how they're being conducted, not having any warrants, any federal warrants of any arrests for anyone. They're just coming in, breaking into people's homes, breaking into people's places of business, right? Breaking into elementary schools because they're wanting to get the most dangerous criminals. So, as I go to the next clip here. So, many of you have probably seen this here.
Close look at your screen. This is 87-year-old John Spitzberg. He traveled from Gainesville, Florida to Washington, D.C. He was arrested for peacefully protesting over the weekend. Spitzberg was a part of a group of dozens of veterans who were protesting outside the U.S. Supreme Court and U.S. Capitol building. He's just one of the countless veterans, people who served our nation and swore an oath to the Constitution, who took to the streets this weekend.
So as you just saw there, an 87-year-old gentleman, an 87-year-old veteran. And to the people in the military of all branches, your oath is not to a specific political figure. Your oath is not to a specific president. Your oath is to never have any bias. Your oath is to protect all citizens of the United States, regardless of their political party or their political affiliations, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. all military veterans or all military personnel are never to have any biases, because they're supposed to protect all Americans. All. Not some, not a few, all, regardless of their political party. And that includes MAGA supporters. And we've seen the Donald do certain rallies where he's had military behind them cheering for him as he's talking about other either other military personnel or speaking adversely against cities that are governed by Democrats, right? So to all military personnel, especially those that are newly going into the military, because I know some people that are just going into the military, new military recruits, just know when you go in, you're taking an oath to protect all U.S. citizens. All U.S. citizens, no matter what their political affiliations are. You're not joining the military just to protect MAGA supporters or those that have the same ideologies as the president. That's not your job. That's not your job. Your job is to protect all American citizens, regardless if you disagree with their political ideologies. Regardless. That's your job, as you took an oath to the Constitution of the United States. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to read, because I have my pen. Matter of fact, I'm looking at it right there. The Citizens Book. The Citizens Blue Book. The Citizens Blue Book. Matter of fact, since I don't have my headphones. The Citizens Blue Book. The Citizens Blue Book. And I'll just put it up here on the screen so everyone can see it. The Citizens Rule Book, Bill of Rights, Jury Handbook. The fireworks are in the document itself. Read the Constitution. A palladium of liberty. And this is what our military is to protect. Not any one specific individual, but the Constitution and Bill of Rights here. And actually, this book has the Articles of Confederation as well, which was written even before the Constitution as we know it today. So that's to all military personnel currently doing their duties within the military. And we also saw in that last clip about how in Minnesota, 2 representatives of Minnesota were assassinated, or one was assassinated along with her husband. Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were assassinated, and Minnesota Senator John Hoffman and his wife were wounded, and the shooter has been identified as one Vance Bolter, who has been identified now as he's a Trump supporter and voter as well. And we see and we know that the Donald still, as I'm speaking here, still has not contacted the governor of Minnesota to say anything about the happenings. No compassion, no concern or interest, none of that. So I'm just going to play this here, and this is directly from my cell phone here. This is words of the Donald as he's being asked a very specific question.
Details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them? We called him. It pointed this. So, I could be nice and calm, but why waste time?
Okay. So, and that's from the words of our president, right? I mean, what president does that? What president does that? No concern, no interest. I mean, two representatives of the House of Representatives, one assassinated, the other wounded. A senator, Minnesota senator, wounded. Minnesota House of Representative, assassinated, along with her husband. And you're not going to call the governor of Minnesota to show concern and to see what's going on and see how, and to ask how you can be of service and how you can be of some assistance so these altercations won't happen again. You're the president. But it just goes to show you the lack of empathy and the saturation of apathy that the Donald has for those that are in public office that have differing ideologies. That's pretty much what it is. So we all know that he doesn't have any real feeling towards the governor of Minnesota. We all know that he doesn't have any high feelings toward the governor of California, which is what's coming up in just a moment. So I'm going to go back to my clips here. So we all know that we've seen this clip here, so I'm just going to recap it.
Department of Homeland Security and the officers and the agencies and the departments and the military people that are working on this operation will continue to sustain and increase our operations in this city. We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
As you saw there, and we've all seen the clip, that was the secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and she was interrupted for questioning. She was interrupted for questioning by California Senator Alex Padilla and the leader of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, Miss Barbie doll, right? Miss Barbie doll, fake eyelashes, the hair fluffed, always in costume, right? Wherever she goes, she's always in costume. She's always ready. Now, later on in that same press conference, she made the claim that she doesn't know who Senator Padilla is. That's what she said in that same press conference. And she made the claim that she wants to liberate all of Los Angeles. She's going to liberate all of Los Angeles because the Donald told her to use all, whatever, by any means necessary. That's what she said the Donald told her. So the Senator Padilla wanted to come ask her questions about all the men that she was flashing on the screen, right? Because many of them are American citizens or are in the process of their citizenship, which is another reason why people here in Los Angeles and all over the country are pushing back, because we are finding out now that many of the people that are being rounded up, if they're not currently American citizens, they are in the process of becoming citizens, which is why they were rounding people up at federal courthouses as well. Going after people that are even in the process while they're going to their appointments to progress their citizenship, right? Or to progress the all the procedures that have to take place for them to become citizens. They're even stopping that. And they're also arresting and detaining American citizens. That's just the bottom line. It's just what it is. They're not rounding up the most dangerous criminals, right? That's not who they're going after. Especially if you're going after people at elementary schools. You're not going after murderers and rapists, those that came out of the mental asylums, right? This is what they keep telling us, that all these people keep coming out of the mental asylums, and the jails are being emptied by the previous administration. What jails are being emptied? Where are they? What's the name of the facility that's being emptied? What's the name of the mental asylum where all these criminals are coming from? Where are they? Where are they? So I can do a report on them. Where are they? So Senator Padilla had this to say regarding the incident.
While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question.
So as you can see, and as Senator Padilla just kind of put out there, that he was there in the same building. Secretary Noem knew he was going to be there because she was supposed to be a part of that briefing. And she made a decision to do her own press conference without him, so she wouldn't have to confront him with his questions. That's why all that took place. And so before he could even get his question out, here come whoever was her security to come and escort him forcefully out of the conference room. And then they put the handcuffs on him, and we all saw the clips. And this is a sitting U.S. senator simply wanting to rebut all the information that she's giving to not only us in Los Angeles, but to the entire world. Because she's telling the entire world that her department has to liberate all of Los Angeles. So he wanted to address that, as he should. Not only did that happen, but this just happened. Oh gosh, this just happened yesterday. So I'm just going to show this clip here.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant? I had it in my hand here. You obstructed. You obstructed. I was like, let go. See the warrant. Put him in custody. No! Take him back. Take him in. Take him in. Take him in. Step back. You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant. Stay back. No, ma'am. For your own safety. For your own safety.
Where are you taking him? Hello? Hi,
You have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Where are you taking me? And with what authority?
Why are you arresting?
And with what authority?
Where are you?
Step back, guys. Step back, please. Number one's gonna go with him, right? Hang on, please. Number one. Hold on.
So, as you just saw there, oh gosh. So, as you just witnessed right there, that was New York mayoral candidate Brad Lander, who had just come out of a hearing for, if you notice, one of the guys' faces was shaded out. This was a individual that had just gone to a hearing where he was, I guess he was granted a certain account of freedom to where he wasn't supposed to be detained, and he can continue with his processing of becoming an American citizen. And so Mr. Lander was doing the best that he could to escort this gentleman to wherever he needed to go so he can, go and enjoy the rest of his day without being harassed by ICE agents. Because according to a judge, he was granted a certain order to not be arrested or detained. And so that's why you saw what you just saw there. Another American being detained by ICE agents. And this is what America is turning into, right? Over immigration laws, because we're doing the best we can to, get rid of hardcore criminals. And speaking of that, because we just saw Alex Padilla and Kristi Noem, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this clip here. Many of you that are Fox viewers may have seen this already, but I'm going to play it for people that may watch other networks of news sources. So I'm just going to play this right here. All right, I'm going to play this clip right here.
An accused rapist, murderer, and child pornographer. All illegal aliens caught because of President Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. And if you're here illegally, you will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. But if you register using our CBP Home app and you leave now, you could come back. Under President Trump, America will be protected.
The golden age of America begins right now.
It'll be the biggest political comeback in a century.
Well, that's a good-looking group. Hello, everybody. This is not a normal situation, is it?
We are in the presence of a really mythical character.
Doing 4 of these in one
It's a little difficult. You know, this doesn't get me to heaven, nothing will. Art of the Surge. The Donald Trump Comeback Season 2. Streaming now only on Fox Nation. Plus, it's how the surge started. Season 1 streaming now on Fox Nation.
So, as you can see there, your secretary, the Secretary of Homeland Security, is doing commercials for the Fox viewer, because none of the other networks, maybe OAN and Newsmax, may show it as well, but no other news outlet is showing that commercial. Only Fox. Like it's an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Right? Yeah, but that's what it's coming to. You know, Kristi Noem, as she has changed her look over the years, you know, again, wanting to be the glam doll, as you can see her transformation right there. And this is the Secretary of Homeland Security that couldn't tell the U.S. Senate what the definition of habeas corpus was. And this is our United States government. These are these are our appointed officials. These are our appointed officials. Ay, ay, ay. As I go to the next clip here, and after all that's settled and done, here's another character that a lot of conservatives don't like. So I'm going to put her up on the screen here. This is the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, addressing people of Los Angeles and the world.
Who he was. But how do you not recognize one of two senators in our state? And he is not just any senator. He is the first Latino senator to ever represent our state. The images we have seen of our city over the past week, the rage, the vandalism, the looting, none of that is LA. Los Angeles is who you see behind me, representatives of the faith community, the business community, community organizations. Yesterday, I stood at this podium with over 30 mayors from Los Angeles County who are all concerned about what is going on. Los Angeles is a Jewish community, a Muslim community, a Christian community, and many other faiths. Los Angeles is Chinatown, Little Tokyo, Filipino Town, Koreatown, Thai Town, the South LA African American community, the Chamber of Congress, the Central City Association. This is LA, and we are united. And I just want to say that I was listening to the words of the secretary at the press conference describing LA as a war zone. My understanding that she arrived here late last night, was here for a few hours today, and came to that conclusion. There's no one up here that sees Los Angeles like that. And I know as the press, you know, this is not all of Los Angeles. This is isolated to a few blocks in a city that is over 500 square miles. And out of those 500 square miles, the protests, and especially the protests that devolved into vandalism, represents about half a square mile. So the notion that this is happening all over our city, the notion that this city is not governable, the notion that we need the military to intervene, we have the capacity to address these problems. And I know there's not a person up here that supports vandalism, that supports violence, and that understands if you support the immigrant community, you know how to do it in a peaceful manner. We are proud to say that we have a well-established a well-respected immigrant rights organizations that have been holding protests for years and years that have never devolved into violence. And so to characterize what is going on as our city is a city of mayhem is just an outright lie. I'm not going to call it an untruth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to call it for what it is, which is a lie. And I just have to say, I served with the secretary. I served with the secretary for probably about 10 years in Congress. And Madam Secretary, I do not recognize you anymore. I do not know Kristi Noem that I served with for 10 years. So no matter what happens out of the White House, we will always uphold and reflect what Los Angeles and the United States of America are truly about.
So, you heard the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, who said she used to work with Kristi Noem once upon a time. She used to work with that Kristi Noem that I just put up a minute ago, right? She used to work with that Kristi Noem. So she used to work with Kristi Noem. She doesn't know who she is anymore. Obviously, she's a changed person these days. In more ways than one. She's changed. And according to the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, she's changed quite a bit. Not only in her look, but in her personality and character and her sense of concern and interest. So, again, like she said, the notion that all of Los Angeles needs to be liberated, right? Like the clip that I showed at the top of the show. While Los Angeles burns, but nothing is burning in Los Angeles other than those cars that they keep showing, right? So that is the mayor of Los Angeles that many, quote, MAGA supporters claim is, she doesn't know what she's doing. She's the worst mayor ever, right? That's the talking point. She's the worst mayor ever. She doesn't know what she's doing. She can't handle her own city. She didn't do anything about the fires. And then after the mayor, then we go to another person that not only the conservative base dislikes, but the president dislikes as well. And it's this man right here. He's the governor of California, current governor of California, serving his final term in office currently. But here's Governor Gavin Newsom about all the events that have taken place over the past few days.
It's a federal judge with a federal order. Period, full stop. It's the rule of law. These are the foundational principles of a constitutional democracy. He must work under the constraints as a constitutional officer of the Constitution of the United States of America. That's what this court order demands of the President of the United States. He is not a monarch, he is not a king, and he should stop acting like one. I spoke to him on Friday night. He had a mysterious conversation with me 3 days later. You can't even make this stuff up. Oh, I would love to share the readout, but I revere the office of presidency, so I'll keep it in confidence. He has quite literally made up components of that conversation. He's been a stone cold liar about what he said we talked about. He never discussed the National Guard, period, full stop. I would love to share with you what he actually talked about. It would send shivers up your spine.
Okay. That's Governor, the governor of California. I call him the Bruce Wayne of politics. The Bruce Wayne of government. Governor Gavin Newsom, who again is serving his, I believe, his last term as governor. This is the same man, and a lot of people claim that they dislike him for, for a number of reasons. But this is the same man that has done obviously great business with people all over the world, not creating conflict with world leaders, but actually building relationships with world leaders. And because of the relationships that he's built with world leaders, California is now the 4th largest GDP on the planet. The planet. Not just in the nation. And this is why a lot of red states come to California to ask us for financial help. It's just what it is. And it can't be denied or disputed by anyone on any side, Republican or Democrat. It's just what it is. California has the largest economy, 4th largest economy on the planet, which tells me that there are great business relationships, which is why he has a current lawsuit against the Trump administration for all the high tariffs. I mean, the more you put tariffs on goods imported into California, the more that we have to pay as consumers. We have to pay that. So when we see all the prices of food or other necessities that we need for everyday life, when you see them going up 5, 10, 15, 20%, that's because of the tariff war. So for people to say that, oh, I hate Gavin Newsom, he's the worst governor, in California history, how can that be when we have the 4th largest economy on the planet? The Donald can't say that we have one of the best national economies. We do, it's great, but from what it looks like here, California can run itself if we truly wanted to, because I don't see any other state in the union that can make these claims. Not Texas, right? Not Illinois with Chicago, not Florida with Miami, not even the state of New York can make that claim, right? California, the 4th largest economy. You see up here, number 1, the United States, but that's with all other 49 states. But California looks like it can run itself. Again, why red states come to us for assistance. Oh, yeah. But many conservatives don't really care for Governor Gavin Newsom, whether they live here in California or not. But many conservatives here in California, just south of us in Orange County, they really don't like Gavin Newsom. Just because he's a Democrat, they think he's just the evil of the evil. They believe he's the devil, right? That's how hardcore they are. Gosh. But LA is a war zone. Lastly, the last couple of things I'm going to put up as I switch gears slightly, because of the ICE raids, many children have been separated from their parents, whether they're American citizens or not, or whether their parents are American citizens or not. Children are being separated from their parents. I'm going to play this, and again, this is about people that are within the Trump administration doing his bidding. So I'm going to play just a couple of clips from this individual here. This is attorney. This is the United States head honcho attorney, Pam Bondi, and this is her regarding the what's been going on in and around Los Angeles. This is her point of view when it comes to Los Angeles.
You've been criticized for having a double standard with the president pardoning all these people who attacked police officers on January 6th in his first day in office. How do you answer that criticism?
Well, this is very different. These are people out there hurting people in California right now. This is ongoing, no longer. We're going to protect them. We're going to do everything we can to prosecute violent criminals in California. California is burning. These people are waving Mexican flags, yet they don't want anyone to go back to Mexico. They're burning American flags. This is the United States of America, and we're going to protect Americans. We're going to protect all citizens out there.
Okay. First, California is not burning. Yeah, California is not burning, as I prep for this next clip here that I'm going to play. As she made a statement about California is burning, California is not burning. And the reporter asked the question about January 6th, which a lot of conservatives do the best that they can to excuse that day as if it never happened, where police officers actually died that day. Many police officers were initially attacked by U.S. citizens, right? Not immigrants. No, U.S. citizens, predominantly Caucasian men, right? Caucasian men attacking a United States federal building, breaking the windows, going inside of the offices of political figures on both sides, right? Nobody from Los Angeles did that. But they're called insurrectionists, right? We saw windows being broken. We saw officers getting crushed, right? Getting crushed inside of a U.S. Capitol building, right? We saw thousands of people, tens of thousands of people in and around Washington, D.C. But that is being excused away. And many of those people, actually all of them, were pardoned. All 1,500 plus people were pardoned. And many people are suggesting that the people, the men, especially the men that are posing as ICE agents, are these pardoned January 6th members that participated on that day. Because we know that there was a meeting amongst all those that were pardoned, all those that accepted the pardon, because I talked about the one lady that didn't want to accept her pardon. She took full responsibility. So for the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to make the claim that there is such the striking contrast between what happened on January 6th versus what happened just a few days ago in Los Angeles, we're talking apples and oranges. We're talking apples and oranges. Because no one in Los Angeles broke into any federal building, not one, and damaged property of political figures, where political figures on both sides had to run for their lives in the basements of the Capitol building. They didn't have to do that in Los Angeles, but the people in Los Angeles are called insurrectionists. Oh, and speaking of Pam Bondi, I'm going to go even a step further because she's been the ultimate cheerleader for the Donald. I'm just going to go here. And many of you probably remember this.
And they said to me, you, Donald Trump, have taken the handcuffs off of DEA agents. And as a result of, since you have been in office, President Trump, your DOJ agencies have seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills, 3,400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives. Kids are dying every day because they're taking this junk laced with something else. They don't know what they're taking. They think they're buying a Tylenol or an Adderall and a Xanax, and it's laced with fentanyl, and they're dropping dead. And no longer because of you, what you've done. ATF, since you've been in office, President, along with DOJ agencies, seized 14,500 guns off the streets. Why aren't people reporting that?
So there you see Pam Bondi being the ultimate cheerleader for the Donald, the ultimate cheerleader. As I gear up for this final clip that I'm going to show here, because it has to do with Pam Bondi as well. You know, it's just amazing that, and you know, Pam Bondi is one of the, she was the attorney general in Florida. And so she knows full well about all of the happenings with the Jeffrey Epstein case, the Jeffrey Epstein case. And she understands and knows who is a part of those files, who's a part of those files. So I'm going to play this last clip here for everyone. And many of you may or may not have seen this clip before, but I'll just let the clip play, and then I'll just let the clip play, and then I'll make a comment about it afterwards. So I'm just going to go here as we I'm going to go here. So now remember, I just showed Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and also the head of the FBI, Mr. Kash Patel. So just keep those names in mind as you listen to this clip here.
And by any means necessary, if we cannot protect and care for our children, what is the point of anything else? I am disgusted and angry at the inaction of our new officials tasked with the responsibility of bringing justice for the children. I have not seen urgency in them, but I have seen attempts to gaslight and placate the public. Pamela Bondi, Allie has given you express, verbal, and written permission to unredact her name in the child ledgers and the documents you possess from her time at the islands, from her time at Diddy's freak-off and white parties, from the numerous visits she was taken to at the Playboy Mansion, from her being trafficked over state lines to Snoop Dogg's 2009 concert in State Line, Nevada, from Oprah Winfrey's house from being trafficked to Joe Biden's party under the Getty, from being trafficked to Obama, from being trafficked to Michelle, and from hundreds of other buyers listed on the ledgers that you seem determined to keep from the public. Shame on you. You countered Allie's public request to unredact her name, stating you, and I quote, would be keeping survivors' names redacted for their safety. I wonder how Virginia feels about your concern for her safety. I'll tell you how I feel. I, Allie's mom, am doing everything in my power to keep Allie safe, while you're doing everything in your power to keep the buyers of children safe. We are not the same. Am I really to believe in the last 90 days that you could not release information on a single child slave buyer? It has been 90 days since you promised to release the Epstein buyers the following day. That was a lie. You said the files were on your desk. That was also a lie. You said there was a truckload of documents and ledgers, but there were only 100 to 200 survivors. That is also a lie. There are thousands and thousands of survivors that span decades, some living and some dead. We, the American people, are disgusted and exhausted by the games and the lack of urgency coming from your office regarding the children. No one asked you to give a timeline on the release of the information. You volunteered that on your own, and then you lied to every child and survivor when you failed to keep your promise. You broke trust with the American public as your first course of action. You did that. I'm just calling it out.
And that is one Allie Carter and her adopted mother that you saw in the picture. And that is directly to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who knows that this individual exists and knows her history along with the history of multiple other women, in this case, women who are adults now, many of them, that have been trafficked by Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, who's no longer with us, and others. And when she says the name Virginia, I'll just put this up. When she says the name Virginia, she's talking about this. She's referring to this lady right here, who mysteriously is no longer with us as well. Because the report that the world was given is that she somehow committed suicide at her home, her ranch in Australia, because she moved from America to Australia with her husband and children several years ago. And Virginia Giffrey was the first one to come forward because she was hired to Epstein because she worked at Mar-a-Lago. And we've seen all the clips of the Donald and Jeffrey Epstein just buddying up and laughing with each other and pointing to different women and giggling and giggling with each other, telling each other secrets, right? We've all seen the clips, but the Donald has always said that he says it even recently. I hardly knew him. I hardly knew Jeffrey Epstein. As she says right here, I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me, in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted, obviously, because she's no longer here. And And that's, again, Virginia Giffrey, and she just passed away about a month ago due to what's been reported to us as an apparent suicide. An apparent suicide at her home. But because we're supposed to be protecting, we're supposed to be protecting American citizens from those violent immigrants. Well, let's see what we have here. First, let's see. We have, well, we'll go here. We'll go here. We'll go here. Dozens of suspected white supremacist gang members arrested in Los Angeles area in domestic terrorism investigation. But the conservative base isn't speaking on that. But remember, the claim is that immigrants are being emptied from the mental asylums and the jailhouses to do this kind of activity to American citizens, right? So we have that. And then, because remember, this is what we're being told on a regular basis here in the United States. So we have this right here. We have this right here. So we have this report. It says this is Cody McCollum, a white supremacist gang member and repeat violent offender who repeatedly raped a child. And down at the bottom, it says the conservatives, will never hear this man's name. Fox News won't mention him, which they haven't. Trump won't mention him, which he hasn't. Trump officials won't do tough on crime photo ops in front of his prison cell, which they haven't. And he currently won't be shipped to El Salvador, which he hasn't. For the simple fact that he's white and his ideology aligns with the Trump regime. So we haven't seen his face plastered all over the news media as we've seen Latin people being called violent criminals, right? The most horrible of the most horrible. The most horrible of the most horrible, they are telling us. But then we have something like this here. Oh, gosh. A MAGA church volunteer. And this is what he posted up. His name is Kevin Hurley. And this is what he put up. Ask not why children shouldn't see drag queens. Ask why drag queens crave an audience of children. But here you see he's a MAGA church volunteer who accused drag queens of grooming children, has been arrested for raping 2 children. 2. But we're wanting to protect the U.S. citizens from immigrant brown people, right? That came from the mental asylums and the empty jail houses. The criminals that come over here across the border to do violent crime against me and you. But then we have this gentleman. And lastly, I'm pretty sure you've seen this one right here. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this up on the screen and then I'll start to wrap up here. This gentleman here. Some of you may have seen this or heard this. Again, back to Minnesota. Republican charged with soliciting a minor resigns from Minnesota Senate. Resigns from the Minnesota Senate. Justin Eichhorn faced federal charges after allegedly trying to meet with underage girl found through sex ad. And this hardly got any attention, especially on conservative networks. Justin Eichhorn, age 40, faces federal charges after allegedly trying to meet an underage girl found through sex ad. But again, we're wanting to go after brown people, Latin people that are supposedly coming over here by the thousands to come and terrorize American citizens. So while all that's happening, as I get ready to wrap up here, I'm gonna put this man back up on the screen. Because some of you may have seen already, because he left this G8 summit and, was griping about how Vladimir Putin is no longer a part of the G7 now, the G7, the Global 7, to talk about global matters and how we can best remedy global matters. He left to come back here because right now he has these flag poles being installed. And we've all seen the clips of him dropping these executive order papers. You've seen him drop the papers in front of the UK Prime Minister. Dropping papers. He tripped on the steps going up to Air Force One. Right? These are all the things that he was griping about, and other conservative political figures and conservative base members saying that this was the problem with former President Joe Biden. Remember, they was calling him Sleepy Joe. He's sleeping in his basement. He's tripping on the stairs and all this stuff. Well, we just saw the Donald not too long ago dropping papers, tripping on the steps, fumbling his words, right? And we have to, and he's not really building a big rapport and relationship with other world leaders. I mean, just like his first go round, he's being laughed at by other world leaders. We've seen the demeanor of other world leaders when they come to the Oval Office. They don't want to be around him. They don't even want to talk to him because they know it's going to be a shit show. They know this. And I'm sure that there's more to come. I'm going to wrap it and leave it there. To everyone listening and watching around the world, Los Angeles is a beautiful place. Contrary to what certain news outlets may tell you as a narrative. California is not burning. Los Angeles is not burning. We're not breaking into federal buildings, right? We're not vandalizing. Government, political figures' offices. We're not doing any of that. Many of the people that are being taken from their places of employment, these are the ones that are in the process of having their citizenship legalized. They're in the process right now, but they're being rounded up because they're currently illegal while they're in the process. And this is our American government. So let's continue to have a respectful dialogue. And if anybody wants to come on the Kinetic Hour and talk about any of these topics regarding government, political figures, regarding the economy, even MAGA supporters, come on the Kinetic Hour and let's have a respectful dialogue. For those that are on the progressive side, come on the Kinetic Hour. Let's have a meaningful conversation. Because I'm not like some of these hosts that like to argue and yell and scream at their guests and at their audience to get their point across. I like having dialogue so that way I can get a better understanding of one's ideology and the way that they think, the way that they see the world. And we can agree to disagree. You know, we don't have to agree on everything, but at least let's have some mutual understanding of why things have become what they have become. Because all this stuff just didn't fall out the sky one day. One thing leads to another. That's why people need to learn their history, so it won't keep repeating itself like it's doing now. And I'm the small guy here when it comes to government and political content. Shout out to others that bring this type of content, the Midas Touch, people like Adam Mockler, I've Had It podcast, which I love, Brian Tyler Cohen, and the one and only Mary Trump, who's been a thorn in the Donald side. But these are people that are bringing a very different slant of truth, not swaying you one way or the other to get you to think a certain way. No, they're just bringing you the truth, the raw truth, and nothing but the raw truth as it's being presented in real time about this guy on the side of me, right? Because America is not a war zone. Los Angeles is not a war zone. We're not a country of war. We're just not. Now, the notion may be that we're a country of war because we love war. I've read out of my book, War is a Racket. So I've already told you how invested financially we are when it comes to war. But for the average citizen, we're not about going to war. As we see that there's a war right now with Iran and Israel. As I'm reading a comment now, shout out to my boy Truck Nation. People need to continue to wake up to the presidents that were before Trump. This is the exact play from the same playbook. They don't have a problem with ICE or the military. They have a problem with Trump's Democrats don't know when to quit. Then you have paid protesters that make $300 a day. We know what time it is. The fact that people are starting to wake up and they see this. Yeah. So because there are people, and I just showed you people that take photo ops. I showed you, they're not on the conservative or progressive side. They're on their own side just so they can get their 5 minutes of fame, taking a photo op on top of a car, on top of a flaming car, right? Or on top of any car so they can get their photo op. Again, so they can show it to their respective outlets of news sources. So thank you for that, Mr. Truck. That's one of my best friends from the King's Table, and he talks about a lot of this stuff too. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I'm going to leave it right there because there's more stuff coming up. There is a war on our spirit. There's a war, as Alex Jones used to say, and he might still say it. There's a war on for your mind. A war on for your mind. There's a war on your mind. There's a war on your spirit. There's a war on your spirit. Are you going to have, are you going to be a person of compassion, empathy, or are you going to be a person of malice and empathy? Right? Who are you with? Right? Some people used to say, are you with us or are you with the terrorists? You know, we're better than this. We're better than all of this. To everyone that wants to be a part of this country, come on in. America's a great country. Go and get your paperwork. Do it the way that you're legally obliged to do. For those that have been here for decades without their respective legalizations, just be careful with you and your family members, because obviously we have an administration that won't hesitate to pick you up too and your family. And again, we're better than this. We're not about separating children from their families. Again, where's the compassion for the children? Because we don't want to create our new PTSD children. We don't want to create that. That's not who we are as Americans. That's not who we are. That's not who we are. We're better than that. As Americans, we're better. Collectively, we're better than the ideologies of our president. We're better than all this chaos. Collectively. You're always going to have people that are going to disagree, but collectively, we're better than the ideologies of our current administration. All of them. And we see, as I sign off, we see that many people that used to praise Trump are now starting to speak in contrary terms. You know, Tucker Carlson and all these people. Matter of fact, why have so many people, and I'll end with this, why have so many political journalists, why have so many political journalists within the last year and a half, why have so many political journalists leave mainstream media? Leave, or they quit, they resign, or they've gotten fired from mainstream television news outlets, CNN, Fox, MSNBC. Why are so many of them getting fired or getting let go, and they're going independent? They're going independent. Jim Acosta just got let go. He's doing his own thing now. Joy Reid just got let go from MSNBC. Jim Acosta from CNN. Leland Vittert from Fox. All these people, Tucker Carlson from Fox. All these people are leaving mainstream media. Roland Martin from CNN and BET and TV One. They're all leaving. Why are they all leaving? Terry Moran just got axed from ABC. Why are all these journalists being fired or resigning from their respective positions? Because like myself, being an independent, quote, journalist, I'm not a journalist, but I do live here in America. I do have concerns. I'm a citizen. So I'm going to talk about things that concern the country and the globe, because this is a global broadcast. I've had guests on from all over the world. And people from all over the world have concerns because there are American people that live abroad. There are people from abroad that live in America. And so there are independent content creators that used to be part of the mainstream, what they call the legacy media, ABC, CBS, NBC. And then you have all the cable news networks, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Newsmax, OAN. So many people are leaving. And then you see these same people that used to be on these networks, they're independent now, so they can speak more freely. They're starting to change their tune as time progresses. And these are people that were on stone cold conservative networks that are starting to change their tune. And even talking about Fox, right? Tucker Carlson challenging Ted Cruz. Marjorie Taylor Greene talking to Matt Gaetz on OAN about Fox. So we'll see how it progresses, and obviously there's more to come with all of this. But just kind of check within yourself. Ask, where are all the children? Where are all the children of America that have been disappeared or trafficked? Where are all the children of America? Where are all the children of Ukraine? Where are they? Where are all the children of Russia? Where are they? Where are they? Right? So for those of you that care about the children, keep asking, where are they? Where are they? Go to my YouTube channel, The Kinetic Hour, subscribe. Tell everyone that you know to subscribe. And tell everyone you know to leave comments, and leave comments regarding the comments. There's a lot happening. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to continue to happen. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the utopia, but we can make it a little bit better for all of us, because all of us live here and all of us deserve to have some form of harmony here. So to everyone listening and watching, until next time,